Hey guys, this is a response to a video on Marvel Spider-Man 2, and I won't mention his name because this is not an attack towards him, nor do I want people going into his comment section and be like, well, you're a stinky poo-poo head, you had an opinion about a video game, and it was so bad that I need to write a super hateful comment. No, I don't want any of that. This is literally just a response to that video, so let's just get right into it actually.
Kraven, who has now become ridiculously overpowered, ends Spider-Man in under a minute. Harry later has to give Spider-Man the symbiote so he doesn't die. He almost died to stupid shit like this.
He almost died to stupid shit like what? We already shown Kraven is able to beat a lot of Spider-Man villains, and he doesn't even consider Miles or Peter a threat. And clearly Peter wasn't expecting him to block his punch since he seems to just be an enhanced human. So why would Peter use all of his strength in one blow? It wouldn't make any sense. He doesn't know how powerful he is.
Not to mention the dumb predictability of where this was all going.
Are you an idiot? like no, seriously, the game trailer shows the symbiote suit in it. That's like saying in Spectacular Spider-Man or Spider-Man 3, you see the symbiote crawling around and you're like, oh, I know where this is going. Like, fucking obviously.
People have given some excuses like him not being ready for Kraven's enhanced strength, but even then, that shouldn't mean you instantly die to what's only an enhanced human.
He mentions this here, but I don't understand because isn't Green Goblin an enhanced human? Isn't Doc Ock an enhanced human? Isn't Martin Lee an enhanced human? So you shouldn't be able to die by these guys by your logic then either, right?
Spider-Man has strength that can stop trains and enhance speed, so maybe he shouldn't just pathetically die to an above average human.
Oh yes, only an above average human. It's not like he was able to hold Scorpion with one hand and at least able to stand his own against Symbiote Spider-Man and Venom for a while.
Spider-Man should have been ready for him to be this tough anyway, since he already knew Kraven killed Scorpion.
Yes, Spider-Man did see the video of him defeating Scorpion, and I don't feel as though that should have just made him ready since he still doesn't know the full limits of his strength or durability. I don't think that justifies the punch that he blocks. We don't know how hard Spider-Man was hitting him, and I would assume it was still pretty hard, but not as hard as he could because he still doesn't know the full limits of his strength. All Kraven really did was take out a stinger easily and also throw him with one hand, so I feel like that 2-minute video doesn't give him enough information on how hard he should hit him. Spider-Man doesn't want to kill him, so I would imagine he's still holding back.
Gosh, the scaling of Kraven being this overpowered is just ridiculous.
I don't. The power scaling for Kraven was ridiculous because this is a different version of the character. And I'm going to be repeating that a lot in this video because I'm not sure if he understands there's different power scalings for different versions of the characters since he seems to be making that a point in his video.
Let's give another better example yet again. Spectacular Spider-Man, where Peter also gets his ass beat in under a minute. Not as ridiculously severe as Kraven, but his ass does get beat. Now this scene actually makes sense because this is Spider-Man's very first time seeing Tombstone, which justifies Spider-Man's mistake of underestimating him, unlike Kraven.
Not sure the point you're trying to make here. It's also Spider-Man's first time facing Kraven, and yeah, I see the point you're trying to make with the video of him killing Scorpion, but I still feel that doesn't give him a full understanding of his power, like I said before.
Despite that loss, Spider-Man later defeats Tombstone near the ending of the show, which is some hella great payoff that shows character progress.
The character progression that Spectacular went through took 6 months in the canon timeline. I even checked, and him versus Kraven was maybe a week? I actually don't know the amount of time, but I do know it was a short amount of time. Also, this scene is stupid, by the way, because why didn't Tombstone just kill Spider-Man if he's messing with his business? There was no reason for Tombstone to not just kill him right there.
As opposed to Kraven, where Spider-Man never beats this guy without the symbiote. We never see Kraven get overpowered by anything except the symbiote, so therefore those shitty shorts have no real proof of Spider-Man being stronger.
We never see Symbiote Spidey beat Kraven without the symbiote, so that means he couldn't do it, is basically what you're saying, which I feel is illogical because we don't see it. It's this thing called a game where time is limited for a story. That's like saying in Spider-Man 3, Peter was only able to beat Sandman with the symbiote even though we don't see it. We see him fighting in the red suit one time and he loses. Guess what? That means he can't beat him without the symbiote. And that's also his first time fighting Sandman, and I know your only argument is, well, he watched a video that was 2 minutes long, so he should have known his strength to a degree. And yes, he probably did know his strength to a degree. He was going for a face shot and he wasn't expecting him to block. I'm sure he wouldn't use all of his power because he doesn't want to kill him. We can also compare your logic to Spectacular Spider-Man. Well, we don't see that he can't be Chameleon without the symbiote, so that means he can't do it. Or what about taking down the 6 all at once? Just because we don't see it doesn't mean he can't do it. Then he also says then we don't have proof that Spider-Man without the symbiote is stronger than Kraven. And yeah, you dummy, he's not. Kraven is clearly shown to be stronger than him, but that doesn't mean he can't beat him without the symbiote.
I fight guys stronger than me all the time.
What does Spider-Man do in Spectacular to win most of his fights? Ask me that. Does he fight them head on and win, or does he outsmart them and win? Most of the time, he outsmarts them instead of defeating them head on.
Peter fights the Lizard and wins this fight, but it's with the symbiote, and they make sure that you know he only wins this fight exclusively because of the symbiote when they had the symbiote heal him from a serious fight-ending injury against the Lizard.
I feel this is dumb. He's beaten the Lizard before in this universe, and who's to say he can't beat him with a broken arm? Wasn't he fighting the Sinister Six with 14 broken bones? And even in the comics, he actually beats Lizard with one arm like a beast.
As opposed to other media that shows the black suit as something that makes things easier, not something that's a crutch that he absolutely needs.
Did it not make his fight easier? He doesn't absolutely need it. He's beaten Lizard before without it.
Spider-Man, like a true Giga Chad, goes off to fight all the symbiotes without the black suit, and even holds his own against a giant Venom symbiote monster. Now that is some Giga shit.
I wonder, is it that the power scaling is different for other versions of the characters? This is impossible. Also, didn't you literally just say that the power scaling for Kraven was ridiculous? What about Web of Shadows Venom? He shouldn't even be able to do this.
In a Kraven jail tournament, Miles Morales defeats the murderer of his dad and his new arch nemesis, Mr. Negative. I wish Peter could have beat a villain on his own.
A complaint can be made that Peter didn't beat a villain on his own. Yes, I'm sure that he could have beaten an enraged Sandman that was tearing up New York on his own. I'm sure that he could have beaten a guy that he doesn't know the limits of his powers. I'm sure he could have beaten Venom, by the way, a cracked version of Venom on his own. That's all sarcasm, by the way. They didn't nerf him. These are villains that are bigger threats than the Six, and that's why he has more trouble beating them alone. Miles couldn't even fight those guys alone. I don't understand this because it's clear he was fighting lower level threats like Lee, but he doesn't have a chance in this game because he's dealing with bigger threats.
Black Suit Spider-Man is about to take things too far by killing Kraven, but Miles Morales somehow gets out of his cage in the short time they were fighting despite his hurt state.
We don't know how long they were fighting. It's gameplay in between, so why couldn't he have escaped his cage? There's no way of knowing how long the fight lasted.
And this starts our boss fight where Symbiote Peter somehow takes a hard L to Miles Morales even though he was just hurt by Kraven, who he was originally captured by. Peter is amplified by the symbiote and has just beat Kraven without breaking too much of a sweat. But Miles, who just lost to Kraven, somehow beats Spider-Man and even outstrengths him in this one shot here.
I know this is the most controversial topic that Peter should have beaten Miles, and I think the Gaming Rift has a better explanation of how Miles won, and I'll show that now because he can explain it way better than I can, and he actually has some really amazing points.
This then leads straight into the boss battle with Miles Morales, with this fight getting a huge amount of flack, and I'm not too sure why, as it's pretty obvious this wasn't a fair fight from the start. Peter had immediately just fought Kraven prior to this, and Miles had fought Mr. Negative earlier in the day, with both not being at 100%. Both were also holding back significantly, with neither one trying to beat the other necessarily, with Peter becoming progressively more conflicted as the fight goes on, as Miles starts getting through to him. Finally, Miles' bioelectric powers are established to be effective against symbiotes, with Miles also taking advantage of the suit's weakness to sound waves in order to render Peter significantly weakened, resulting in a long drawn out battle with Peter eventually ripping himself free of the symbiote. This fight was badass and one of the best in the game and one of the best in the whole series to be honest. However, this is an unreliable portrayal as to how the fight would have actually gone if both were trying to kill the other and Miles didn't have Peter's weakness to sound at hand. Miles did not beat Peter, Miles helped Peter beat himself.
After Miles basically beats him, he convinces Peter to take off the black suit, which I find sort of destroys the whole beauty of how that arc usually plays out.
This is something I'll actually agree with you on. I think they could have done something better with him getting the symbiote off, and he needed more self-reflection on his actions, but I don't think he did too much with it, and that's definitely the story's fault for not giving us more moments where he's just like an asshole to everyone.
Sick Harry, who can barely walk, somehow proceeds to hit the canister, and Spider-Man just loses his superhuman reflexes and just lets it happen.
I'll agree with you on him also not being able to dodge Harry's cane just so the plot can happen. And that's really dumb. A lot of the symbiote plot I think was dumbed down, which is very disappointing.
As Peter gets knocked into a fridge that falls on top of him and pins him. I've seen cucks try to argue that, oh, it's just 2 seconds he was down for. But no, they make an effort to show him get pinned for around 11 seconds as could be shown by my timer.
Why is it so hard to imagine a fatigued Peter that got caught off guard being down for 11 seconds? And even in the first game, Peter was pinned down by Mr. Negative under some debris in basically the same situation. Because guess what? He got caught off guard, and no one complained about that scene.
Like, gosh, you can pretty much tell the writers at Insomniac clearly dislike this character. If they really like this character, then why would they take a guy who stops trains and blocks a punch from Rhino while fighting the Sinister Six, and then trap him under a fridge for 12 seconds as he watches his 2 out of 10 that the devs turned her into get ticked down?
Okay, I understand. So Insomniac hates the character because he was stuck under a fridge for 11 seconds. Oh, okay. I get it now.
Like the game's fan base, I guess the writers are really into being in the shoes of a cuck.
Imagine being called a cuck because you enjoy something. That's just some 5-year-old behavior.
You are a sad, strange little man.
And after getting bitched at by her, he loses to Scream in the end cutscene after the boss fight.
Yes, I'm sure Peter is trying to actively beat the shit out of his girlfriend, giving it his all. No, you fucking idiot. You have to understand, these characters have emotions, and those emotions make them to react to situations in a different way.
Unlike Web of Shadows, once again, where Spider-Man gets to stay badass and beats a bunch of symbiotes and a black cat that got infected with the symbiote.
I mean, this is a weird situation with Web of Shadows because it's shown that Peter doesn't hold back as much against Black Cat, but I still feel like Insomniac's version was actually handled better than the symbiote Black Cat, because Peter I don't feel is holding back at all, but we still see he ultimately does care.
Black Cat also gets her original design instead of just an existing character for no reason.
I don't understand the problem with this, is just nitpicking, honestly. People have taken on 2 personas like in Spectacular where they combine Herman Schultz with Montana, and I don't see why they would ever actually use the character of Scream just because of the limited time they have.
Peter loses to regular lower tier symbiotes and gets fully infected again.
I mean, yes, they are the lowest tier of symbiotes, but they are still insanely strong. Peter even says these things are brutal, I'm gonna need Miles' help. That's when he first starts fighting them. And Miles even says they're fierce when he's fighting. And he even says he needs Peter's help. Again, if you even want to count gameplay, they take a lot of damage. I'm not gonna lie, Miles is stronger than base Peter just from the edge he has with his electrical powers, so him dealing with the symbiotes easier doesn't really bother me. I also feel Peter getting overcrowded by symbiotes is fine because it's already shown that these guys do some serious damage, and he totally misses the part where Miles was actually going after Peter, struggling to get him because there's just too many of them. The only reason they were able to get out of that situation was because of Mr. Negative. They aren't weak in the slightest, even the lowest tier of symbiotes.
Maybe he won't get folded by Venom anymore. Wait, he's still getting his ass kicked. He's not even holding his own, he's just getting his ass kicked still.
Venom is being shown to be the strongest threat he's ever faced, so yeah, he's getting his ass kicked, and I have no problem with this.
Yeah, as said before, the way this is all being presented is making it quite clear that they don't like this character.
Yes, they don't like this character. Don't forget, they had a fridge fall on him for 11 seconds. An 11-second clip really shows the hate they have for this character.
And by sexually motivated, I don't mean the slew of flags and geisha that doesn't belong in a game that a bunch of 8-year-olds will play, as I covered before.
Man, those 8-year-olds must be some cucks for enjoying this game, right?
I don't know why MJ is a part of these fight scenes when Venom can just one-shot her or take her hostage, but whatever.
I'm pretty sure Venom just didn't see her as a threat, but I can see where you're coming from here. I do feel she played a more active role in this game because it was established in the first game that Peter trusted her more in these types of situations, so I do feel like there was development there.
Venom being defeated is a 2v1 win, or a 3v1 which somehow includes MJ. I know Venom is as powerful as Spider-Man, if not more, but it's a part of Spider-Man's character that he usually always finds a way.
They did find a way to beat him. I don't get the point you're providing. This is the first time we are shown Peter and Miles having to deal with Venom. I'm not sure if they did that in the 2017 show, but still, this Venom is way more powerful, and I don't feel like that they could have beaten him on their own. And why is that a bad thing?
I went through every fight with Insomniac Spider-Man 2, and unless you want to count nameless thugs, it's a fact that he loses all the time.
Again, this is dumb. All the threats he was facing in this game were shown to be higher than in the first game.
There's a side mission where he fights Yuri, who becomes a light Punisher knockoff vigilante called Wraith, but that fight shows no conclusion, and looks like more of a draw against a mere human somehow.
Yes, again, Spider-Man is going to give it all against someone that used to be his friend.
Honestly, the seeds for this dog shit were planted a while ago. Not just with him losing a 1v1 to Rhino.
Rhino is a weird case because, yeah, he's not able to defeat him 1v1. And even Spider-Man himself says the Rhino was stronger than him, and Spider-Man was even able to beat Scorpion and Rhino at the same time, but I think it really depended on the environment they were in, and that's why he lost. In the first game, they were in a contained area with no people around, compared to Rhino running around the city with civilians everywhere, and it seems the only way for him to beat Rhino is to contain him or outsmart him, so I feel like the environment really does matter in that situation.
But since their very first game where Spidey was taking mini L's to a mere human like Silver Sable.
Silver Sable is a mercenary. She is still one of the weakest people he's faced, but it's his first time facing her and she can handle her own. Yeah, she may just be a human, but superhero worlds can bend the limit of actual humans. Just look at Batman, for example. Nothing he does is possible.
Some guy managed to make an 18-minute video compiling Peter getting saved and injured, which definitely says enough.
Someone made a video about Spectacular getting beaten up for 19 minutes, but he still comes out on top. And to be fair, some of his fights he shouldn't even be walking away from objectively.
Don't use a story moment from an actual good Spider-Man story to justify your shit brain rot plot that only dummies can enjoy casually on a first playthrough at generous best.
You heard it here, folks. If you're a casual and you enjoy this game, you are a dummy. You can't just enjoy a game anymore. You are a dummy butthead if you enjoy this game. You are a cuck that has no friends, loser, scrub, dummy head. Get out of here. This guy is honestly just a loser. I'm sorry, but you're getting bitched at just for liking a game. Grow up, man. I find it funny that the pinned comment is from the #1 Spider-Man fan, and he says, "I'm way past complaining about the trash story of this game, but let's just sum it up in one statement. The fact teen adaptations of Spidey have dealt with both enhanced Kraven and Venom better than this supposedly 10 years experienced PlayStation version that should be in his prime is simply pathetic. This game is the worst Spidey adaptation, and I'll die on that hill. Say what you want about other versions as bad as they got. They never showcased this much misunderstanding of the character and the spite for Peter. Again, different versions of characters are not going to have the same power scaling. I'm assuming he's comparing Spectacular Spider-Man, and we're not all acting like he gets his ass beat in that show too. I find it so funny that he claims this is the worst adaptation of Spidey. Imagine being called a fan and not even really giving any reasons to how they misunderstood the characters. Give me reasons and they'll be proven wrong. And I know what you're gonna say, well, the French pinned him down for 11 seconds, that's why Insomniac hates the character. Screw you, man. Give me reasons why he's the worst Spider-Man adaptation too, and I'll defend them, because I really don't see a problem with the character of Peter Parker nor Miles Morales. I'll even change my mind if you give some logical points. He also has another video saying Insomniac Spider-Man isn't comic book accurate, and I'm not even gonna bother with that video because the title says enough. The last thing I really want to talk about in this video is Spider-Man fans. It's such a toxic community. Not everyone is toxic, but the fact is, we are a horrible community. People complain about the most stupid things, and it's just embarrassing. I'll always be a Spider-Man fan, but I don't even like associating myself with toxic fanboys. Here are just some examples that I think are absolutely stupid. Someone on this movie rating website or app purposely brings down the score for Across the Spider-Verse just because they think the score is too high, and then they give their actual score in the rating. Like, seriously? We have people hating on Shamik Smiles for no reason at all. We have people complaining about adding web wings to the Ravi suit even though it is a game mechanic. We have people even complaining about the symbiote suit, which I guess that's just your personal opinion. We have people giving Across the Spider-Verse, again, a lower score because a 3-second line wasn't added in the final cut. It was in the theaters, but it wasn't in the final cut. I have people even hating in my comments. This person says, I wouldn't trust Sony with the Ultimate Comics. In fact, Sony never should have gotten the Spider-Man rights. And then I say, that's an interesting opinion. Why say that? They made Insomniac Spider-Man, Spectacular Spider-Man, and even Raimi Spider-Man. And then Disney made Ultimate Spider-Man and the Marvel Spider-Man show. So I would give the rights to Sony, honestly. I hated all of what you said was made by Sony. And personally, I wish Sony would shut down permanently. And also, I personally hate Sony ever since they only bought Spider-Man back when Marvel went bankrupt. I hate Spectacular Spider-Man, Insomniac Spider-Man, and Raimi Spider-Man. Alright, interesting take, but I respect it. Thank you. Sorry if I had nothing nice to say. And then another person asked, why do you hate them? And he's like, because back when Marvel went bankrupt, they were trying to sell all their rights to Sony, but Sony only took Spider-Man. Okay, buddy. Okay. People seem to want to hate on things just to hate on them. None of these, I feel, are valid criticisms. The one with the symbiote suit is just a personal take, but still, it's finding things to hate on just to do it. Don't get me wrong, criticism is needed in media. I wish I would have had more criticism when I was starting on my YouTube channel. But people don't feel like giving criticisms, they feel like hating on it and then not saying why or give the dumbest reason why. I'm gonna end the video here. I would love to hear your thoughts on this. Don't expect me to make more videos like this because I just want to keep focusing on my breakdowns right now. But who knows, if this video does well, I'll keep making these. This is one I really wanted to make because I really wanted to express my opinions about it. So yeah, guys. That's the end, and I will see you guys later. Peace.